Robbie, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I quite literally do not know what I had for breakfast this morning, and I have no idea what's going to happen with my life next week. How do you possibly expect me to answer that question of where do I see myself in 5 years? Welcome to episode number 7 of Coffee with Robbie, brought to you again by my unofficial sponsor where I spend way too much money at, Dunkin' Donuts. And let's dive right into it. I'm going to talk about the two worst interview questions of all time and how to answer them exactly. Question number 1: where do you see yourself in 5 years? Now, this is actually a decent question. And the intention behind the question is, is this person motivated with their career? Have they actually even thought about what they want to be in 5 years? And and do they want to grow their career? And if people can't answer where they want to see themselves in 5 years, that means they haven't thought about it. And there's a lot of, that makes people uncomfortable because it's like, I want to hire someone that's going to be motivated. And I want to hire someone who actually cares about their career and their career path. So if you don't have a good answer for that, it's kind of mean like, I don't think this person is joining this company for the right reasons, and they're just hiring it to get a job. I want someone that's going to be able to grow with us. And that's the most important. I don't want someone that's going to be with us for a year and leave. So how do you answer that question? And this is the way that I answer the question. I think for 99% of you, you should answer this question exactly like this, unless you have some other sort of motivations or you have a better answer than me. The way I answer this question is like this. Well, great question. For me, it's there's a few qualities in my career which I want to see 5 years from now. One is I want to be challenged with the work that I do. And I think that's the number one thing that's most important for me is I want to be challenged. That's how I grow my career, and that's what keeps me interested in growing my career is doing challenging work. It's not necessarily the type of work that I do. I get that my type of work will change as I grow with my career. So, but that's not as important as being able to grow with my career. Number 2 is I really just want to be happy with my career, and that's where I see myself in 5 years. I've lived a happy career up to this point, and I want to continue being a happy person and living a happy career. And for me, obviously, that depends on is my career growing and having a great set of colleagues with me. And that's where I see myself in 5 years. I definitely see myself growing in my career, but I don't know exactly the title that I'll have or the type of work that I'll have. I have some sort of idea, but that's not as important to me as being challenged in my work, growing my work, and working with other great people. That's the answer to that question. And that will take any reservations that someone's had about your career. I don't recommend answering the question specifically, like I want to be a senior manager in 5 years, because that could cause some problems with office politics. Maybe that manager thinks that's unrealistic and you're unrealistic, and maybe that person, that the interviewer will think, well, maybe I don't want that person to become a manager, or they have bad expectations of this role. And so by answering specifically, you're actually doing yourself more harm than good, because you could be stepping into some landmines, some office politics landmines that you are definitely not aware of. And so I would just avoid answering specifically and talk about growing your career, working with great people, and just being happy with your career. The type of work that you do and the exact title, not important at all. Question number 2: what is your greatest weakness? I hate this question along with everyone else. And what I hate more is the way that people answer this question. They always say, well, turn your greatest weakness into a positive. Like, I work too much, or I'm too passionate about my work, or I'm too detail oriented. I think those are all bullshit answers, and I think the interviewers will sense them as a bullshit answer, and the reason you're answering that is because you have no idea how else to answer that question. And so, but I'm going to tell you exactly how I answer that question. And what I do is I immediately rephrase it to focus from my weaknesses to my strengths. It has been proven in many scientific studies and a lot of other research that a person should focus on their strengths. If they focus on their strengths, if a company focuses on their strengths, then they will succeed in their career. If they focus on their weaknesses, then they don't. It's always about improving and recognizing your strengths. And that's where the value comes in, is your strengths. So if you could answer that question, for me, I immediately rephrase it to focus on my strengths, however, still answering the weaknesses part. So I'll answer it like this. I'll say, great question. For me, I understand what my weaknesses are. However, I really focus on my strengths. And I think that's where the value of my work comes in, is focusing on my strengths. So my strengths are building great relationships with executives that form into long-term, like bigger deals. My strength is growing a sales team, and that's what I've done in the past. I have a great track record with that, and my strength is really nurturing other sales analysts and salespeople to grow up and to be better salespeople. I love educating them, but I love building great sales teams, and it happens to be something that I'm very good at. But to answer your weaknesses question, let me tell you why. I've already told you why I think you should hire me. Well, those are my strengths. But why you shouldn't hire me is you should not hire me if you're looking for someone as like a transactional salesperson. If you're looking for someone to just bring out sales deals and make outbound calls every day, and to just process sales leads as a transactional service, that's not me. I focus on relationships, building long-term relationships to bring in bigger deals and building sales teams. I can make cold calls, and I will make cold calls, but that's not my number one specialty. Is just making cold calls all day, and just doing like remedial sales activities. Again, these are things that I know I have to do as part of my job, and I understand that, and I will do that. However, if you're trying to decide why you should hire me and why you shouldn't, you should hire me based on my strengths, which are building great relationships with executives, long-term relationships, and building a great sales team. And that's why people have hired me in the past, and I think that's why you should hire me. If you're looking for something like that, I don't think that I'm a fit for that in my current trajectory, my career. I've done that before. I understand how it works, and I can definitely teach people how to use them, how to do these sales processes, but that's not where I am in my career, and that's the reason why you should not hire me. So that question will blow an interview away, but it relies on you to have the confidence to answering a question like that, and to understanding exactly what the role is and what they're looking for. If they're looking for a sales leader to build great relationships and to implement new programs and to grow a sales team, then that's a great answer. And I'm not a salesperson. I use that just as an example. But if you understand exactly what they're looking for based on some of your questions and some of the other due diligence, then this answer is perfect. Interviewers will be blown away by how you answer that question, because nobody answers that question with, here's why you should hire me and here's why you shouldn't. Nobody does that. And if you have the confidence to do that, and it requires you to understand the pretense of why you're there, then that's a great answer. And it's much better than I work too hard, or that it's a bullshit answer. We all know it's bullshit. So give them a reason to focus on your strengths. They need to be clear what your strengths are. And talk a little bit about your weaknesses, but don't try to turn your weaknesses into a positive. They will see right through it. That is not the purpose of that question. And so that's my answers for the 2 worst interview questions of all time. Hope you enjoy it. If you really like it and you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, go to firemeibegyou.com. I'll teach you step by step how to quit your job. And I've helped hundreds of people quit their jobs. It's a free course. You can't lose by it. Join it, firemeibegyou.com. Also add me on LinkedIn. Thank you very much.